Hey, what are you guys doing here? Welcome to the podcast.
Oh my God, Spence, is that you?
Wait.
Wow.
Good to see you.
I tell him to
bro.
get a little bit animated now. He's just going crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's me. It's my game. It's my jam.
I like it. It's
Yeah.
good. The new you.
The new me
Perfect.
2.0. So how you guys doing? Good?
I'm awesome.
Yes, fantastic.
Nice.
Just recovered from cleaning the garage,
I know,
sweating off
I
a few
heard.
pounds in the 39-degree weather.
Yeah.
Chad used to weigh 300.
That's right.
Look at him.
I'm basically
It's all water weight.
I'm basically a biafran at this point.
Why didn't you call us? We would have given you a hand.
Oh yeah,
We sure would have.
You would have been clapping. Exactly.
Good job, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what would have happened.
Yeah. So I guess, is it my turn for podcast this time?
Yeah, it's your topic.
My topic.
Yep.
So I'm going to talk about today customer service or lack thereof.
Okay. Like all aspects of customer
Everything.
service.
Customer service, returns, exchanges,
Okay.
just the whole kit and caboodle.
I think there's probably some content there.
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
So I think we should dive into the podcast.
Let's
I'm not going to say what it is.
No.
Everyone knows we're three brothers and we've got three opinions talking
Okay.
about one topic. So
Usually we have 3 opinions.
usually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm going
you
to do
guys-
2 myself today, so it might be 4 opinions.
All right.
I'm just going to give one.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, that's 3. Are you going to give one?
I just gave one, so I'm done.
just-
See you guys later.
I'm the moderator. I'm just going to get
Good luck with the podcast.
3 brothers, no opinions.
Let's jump in, guys.
All right.
All right. So customer service is what we're going to
Yes.
talk about today.
You know, I've got plenty of experience in that department.
Yeah. Well, I think we
Well,
all do. Yeah,
Yeah.
we all do. But I had something happen to me this weekend, and so it kind of shone a light on this topic for me because I'm not going to lie. I think a lot of companies now employ a certain tactic to make either exchanges and returns really difficult. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the strategy to make people kind of second guess, do they really want to return it? And they may just decide, like, you know what, screw it. It's not worth the time. And so now the company
Right.
doesn't take that sale back.
So
Sorry?
Nope. So you had this experience this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you going to, or sorry, do you want to tell us where that is or?
I don't
Or
think
no,
we
not
should
really.
name names,
Okay,
but they
probably
make,
not.
really good Swedish meatballs there
Okay.
for a store that sells.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Okay. So
so-
go ahead. Tell us the story.
Yeah. So I bought the, what were they called? The Glutenheimen candles or something, whatever.
I have no
Gluten
idea
talk.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, my daughter bought some candles. They were they were longer candles than they were supposed to be. So we had to just exchange 4 boxes for 4 boxes of shorter ones. And I just thought, you know what, I'll just quickly run in, quickly swap out these.
Well, hang on. Before you get to there, how long did it take you to park?
Well, I've got a hack actually.
Oh, do you?
Okay.
Was it
place.
handicapped?
Well, I was limping.
He was an expectant mother that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had young kids still inside of me. But no.
Oh, I could say so much right now, but no, go ahead.
So, yeah, at this particular place, with all these yellow shirts that are running around, if you drive to where the pickup area is, where you're supposed to back in and load your car,
Yeah.
to me that's like VIP parking. So I just park there and pretend like I'm, calling my wife, "Hey, babe, I'm here," and then I get out, I open up the trunk, and then I'll close it, and then I'll just kind of walk through the exit door inside.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good
So-
for you.
Wow.
And no one ever says anything. Because how do they know I'm not loading my car?
Well, that's because with this customer service dilemma we have, they don't have enough people to
Yeah.
watch the people that are cutting.
Well,
the
now
line.
we know why they
Clearly.
didn't give Spencer good customer service because
Exactly.
they knew he was
They knew he was
screwing the system.
cheating it.
Sure,
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I went, and actually the reason I went that way is because I was going to try to just go to where the cash registers are and deal
Right.
with it right there. I didn't want to have to go all the way through
Sure.
the marketplace.
Does this place with yellow shirts and Swedish meatballs, do they have a return kiosk, like a customer service kiosk
do,
for that
yeah.
stuff?
I found that out the hard way. But yeah, I went to the registers and they said, no, you have to go over there and like sign into the queue, I guess. And so they've got a little screen and you type in your stuff. So I did that, my name, phone number. And luckily, I was only 14th or 16th or something in the list.
Not
It was
bad.
only, 42 minutes.
Huh.
Get a quick return done.
Well, if you look at that in a time perspective, 42 minutes, and how many? 14 people?
Something like that.
That's less than, is that three minutes a person?
Do you want a calculator?
I probably do need a calculator, actually. I don't know. It's not that actually.
But does
when
that
you think
really?
about it,
Yes, you're right. But does that really matter at the moment when you
No.
think I have to wait 42 minutes
No.
to
It was
return?
about 40 minutes too long for me.
Yeah,
I'm
to
not gonna
return
lie.
candles.
Yeah. I didn't even want to.
No, to exchange.
Yeah,
them.
I wanted to
Yeah.
exchange. I
Yeah.
didn't want to get money and all
Right.
that. I just wanted to tell them, listen, this box, I'm going to switch out for this box.
right.
So really, you're still an active customer at that point in time because you're exchanging. You're not returning.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought I should kind of get some, front of the line access or something. It's not like someone who's, open up their boxes and all the, pieces are there and they got to,
Right.
inventory it and all that kind of stuff.
You just wanted service that reflected the line that you came in the first place, which was the VIP.
The
The
VIP.
VIP parking. I
right.
thought there was a VIP return.
You didn't start with "Do you know who I am?" Like
Yeah,
you didn't start with that.
That's right.
But anyway, so I think honestly, as I was standing there, getting more frustrated by the second, I just kind of thought like maybe this is part of the thing that they do.
strategy.
Yeah, because honestly, at one point I thought, I think these are only worth probably $30, $32, and then I was kind of like, do I just buy the new candles anyways and just like throw these out or keep them and just have longer candles that I don't really need? Mm-hmm. And I honestly contemplated that, but
To be honest with you, I'm surprised you didn't do that.
I know
Actually.
that's actually probably more my style. But
Yeah.
I'm
don't
actually
know.
surprised that you even got in your car to drive there to exchange them. To be honest,
I know. Well, I had to. Here's the thing: if I didn't have to get replacement ones, I would have just said, "I'm not. I don't care." Right? We bought them. We don't need them. It's $30. It's not worth my time. But because I had to go back there anyways, I thought, well, I'm not going to rebuy them.
Gotcha.
But until I was in the line, then I really contemplated rebuying them. But
now
that's,
when you were waiting in the line, did you have some Swedish meatballs?
no.
Oh, did they offer you free Swedish meatballs?
No. I
See,
just
they could have done that at least, right?
Sorry, have you been offered free Swedish meatballs there before?
Well, no, but I think given that he parked in VIP parking
Oh, you thought he was getting the VIP
and he's
yeah. The
exchanging,
the VIP menu.
they
as
should
well.
should help pass the time with giving Swedish meatballs.
Yeah. I mean, we should mention that.
Yeah.
And here's
Anyways.
the other thing to it, and this is my own personal sort of reflection, is that whenever I'm in it, and not this store specifically, but any store, and I want to see if you guys think the same way, but when you see a bunch of people behind counters, and you're like, oh, look at all this.
Yeah, I can
you
already
know
tell
where
you.
I'm going.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're going to say, and I absolutely agree.
You see all the staff there, and there's only one lady or gentleman, does whoever it is, dealing with someone's return, and everyone else is making themselves look busy, but there's no one at their station. And they're like stapling paperwork, and they're, I'm looking at them like, okay, can you call someone's name up here? Because like, you're not doing anything in my head. They may be doing something, on the computers, but whenever I see a bunch of people that don't have customers, it really makes me go crazy.
There was an old joke in a restaurant that I worked in. They said, well, if you ever want people to think you're really busy, just carry a clipboard. So you would just put a bunch of pieces of paper on the clipboard, and then just start flipping through the pages. Like, oh, I guess he's busy.
Yeah, but that's what it was. Everyone was like doing something, but not really doing anything. Yeah.
I'm kind of with you when I see someone at a returns counter or something like that, and you're waiting in line. There's maybe two at the counter working, and the one line's really long. No one's at their line, and they're just kind of in the back doing stuff.
Yeah.
You're like
oblivious.
you can't. Yeah, they seem oblivious.
Right.
You're like
Yeah.
you can't just put your stuff down and come deal with the people because it is a customer service booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Now serving one of 16, and yet they're still like wiping the counter,
Setting up their ergonomic workstation.
making it nice and neat and moving their stuff. I'm like, okay, seriously, I'm going to jump over the counter. But yeah, so like I'm watching all that happen and I'm getting more pissed off. And I was just like, what am I doing?
So your whole point is that you think that they're
I think it's purposeful.
intentionally
Yeah.
manipulating how they're helping you so that you'll just say, forget it, and just keep the candles.
And I know we've talked about this before, but like I know your philosophy is, hey, they're going to focus on the customers. They're going to focus on the initial sale. That's why they got people on the floor, and that's what they care about. If they want to hear someone complain or return, that's secondary. They've already made the sale.
I don't think that that's my philosophy. I just think that that's what happens. You know, if you've got 10 salespeople, you're not going to allocate 2 or 3 to returns desk because they're not making you any money. So you're going to put somebody there so you can say you're looking after it, but you're not going to go to your way to stock a ton of people back there.
I get that, but there's something to be said for the repeat customer because they've had a good experience in all aspects, right? And when I have a company that gives me good customer service to return something, makes that process easier for me.
I agree.
I'm a repeat customer.
Right. I may not go back and shop there if I know the return, process is that bad. I might say, then I'm going to go somewhere else.
Well, unless you want Swedish meatballs for lunch one day, then you might go back.
No, I think back to
Or a hot dog.
a point you said to me before, Wade, just about Amazon. That's why it's so good dealing with Amazon, because you can just send stuff back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've only actually returned something once to Amazon, and the process was so incredibly easy that I was amazed.
Well, keep in mind though too, an online store has a lot different demands from a service perspective than a store like the one that you were in. Well, because you don't need to have a ton of yellow shirts, running around or whatever. It's just, it's all automated. Right. So they don't have the demand on the staff side.
But don't you think the expectation, maybe from us being a bit older, is that you should have better customer service from a real person versus an automated system?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like that's the whole point of customer service is to deal with a human being who's going to give you good service.
And if the automation gives me better customer service, then let's automate all these stores then. Because clearly their old model doesn't work.
It's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
So let's talk about, we'll just call them 2 telecommunications giants.
Sure. I've got stories.
Well, yeah, I think we're probably all the same. We've probably started
10-4, Roger.
10-4.
Over and out.
Let me just ring my bell in approval for that. We've probably all switched back and forth over the years from one to the other because we get annoyed by something, the price increase or lack of service, and then we switch to the new one. And things are good initially, and then we switch back at some point again. I think along with your vein of thought, Spence, I think they purposely make the complaint process very difficult when you have to call and spend an hour and a half on the phone, or even to upgrade your plan to talk to someone about doing that. They make it incredibly difficult for you to do that, which is why most people just pay their monthly fee and they don't ever get a good deal. I know I've spent time on the phone to get a better deal. I know you certainly have.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you have at some point just to get that better deal, but then you get annoyed because you spent an hour and a half on the phone.
Yeah, I just don't understand how a company thinks that it is, a viable option that when someone calls that they magically have an extraordinary high volume of call traffic that day.
Every time.
And it's every day you call. It doesn't matter what time of day. They may have just opened, but they've got a extraordinary amount of high volume. And it's always like, your estimated wait time is 94 minutes. And I'm like,
I thought you were going to say hours.
We appreciate your patience. Your call is important to us.
It's like, sure it is.
Clearly not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
it's important that you stay on the line and wait for us.
I guess the part that pisses me off is that, like, obviously I'm in a business, right? It's customer service. The thought, if any of our customers called in and they waited on hold for someone to answer their call,
would never do it.
You wouldn't
for
have
94 minutes.
You wouldn't have customers.
I would be, we would be bankrupt.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why.
Well,
it's called monopoly. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I think using cell phones is such a commodity that no matter what you do, no matter what service you have, people are going to. I mean, we're just creatures of habit. We're going to keep changing, and a certain company will offer these huge promotions to get all these people to sign up at Christmas time. Crazy deal, $30 a month, unlimited, whatever it is, and everybody signs up and jumps ship and goes over there. They only do that to steal your business, and then they don't care. We all know. I mean, this is not news. They just start jacking the rates, or they change your plan and it goes up. And some people just go along with it because they can't be bothered. But the bulk of people switch, and the other company does exactly what the first one did, and they steal you all back.
Well,
and they offer this crazy.
And they all know it.
Yeah, of course they do.
Which is why they do it.
It's just the game. It's a commodity. There's probably only so much margin on it, and they don't really care. They just tell you enough of what they need to tell you to get a deal done until they piss you off. and then you go to the other one, and then you just switch back and forth.
No, I can tell you what upsets me the most when you call those companies is that you might talk for an hour and a half to someone and you'll get to a certain point and they'll go, I'm going to escalate your claim for you. And you're like, okay, can I get your name? And this call's been recorded. I've made a note on your file so everyone knows. No. And you hang up.
Yeah.
And then no one calls you back like they're supposed to. So then you call again and you start the whole process again. You're like, I called on this day. I talked to Jennifer.
There's no notes on the file?
This was the timestamp and there's no note on the file.
Yeah.
And you start from zero.
Yes.
Explaining your problem again.
I think that is intentional.
Yeah.
Because there's no way if they're recording it and they're doing everything they say that they would not have the record of that. I think that's intentional. I really do.
And they know the average person won't spend 2 hours waiting on the phone to deal with it. So they just,
How about this? Have you ever had the waiting for the 92 minutes and then you hear like, hi, thanks, sorry for keeping you. And then they hang up on you.
Oh, yeah. And then you got to start over.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I've had that happen.
Tons.
Honestly, though, here's what makes me laugh. I kind of think if I worked at one of those companies,
you would do that.
Honestly, I think I might just have fun with like, oh, this guy's been waiting. And I'd be like, oh, hi, sorry to keep you waiting. And they'd be like, and then knowing that they have no idea who I am and they have to start this process.
Here's the ironic thing, Spencer, because at a previous podcast, you were talking about the solicitors and people calling you. And you said, hang on 1 second. It's for you, hun. And then you put the phone down. You just walk away for an unlimited amount of time.
Yeah.
So you're kind of really doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It could be intentional for sure.
I think it could be.
So your overall topic is customer service. So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think customer service today is as good as it was 20 years ago?
No, it's not even a close call. And I attribute it on a few things. There's so much competition, and specifically I'm going to say online, because there's 20 years ago online shopping wasn't really a big deal, and people had to treat their customers well because otherwise they would go to another store. Now people don't care because they'll just go online, look for something, order it. They don't have to deal with a person. They can get it in 1 or 2 days. Damn, it's done.
Yeah.
The other thing, I think that's number one. I think number two is the quality, and I'm going to sound like I'm dogging on a certain category of people, but the quality of people coming into the workforce, I feel, is much worse. I think when I was younger, parents and people used to, it was infused into you that, you got to be good to customers. When somebody needs something, you have to listen. You've got to be empathetic. You've got to do all of these things as a customer.
There's probably better training, I think.
Well, for sure there probably was,
then.
I think I think also because of the online thing, people don't have the money to spend, and so they just hire just anybody. And there's nothing more frustrating to go into a store. You were saying about people sitting behind the counter just not doing anything. I mean, you ever go into a variety store or something, and the guy behind the counter's on the phone talking to his buddy, like, "Oh yeah, Friday night. Oh yeah, God, I got so drunk we were at a
and
party."
You're standing there,
and you're standing there, and they're having a full-on conversation. I don't think there's the etiquette, the business etiquette, is ingrained into people today. In the current generation than it was at the time when I was being trained to take a job.
So I'm going to challenge that a little bit. I think the training is probably just as good, if not better, today than it used to be. The difference is there's no accountability and there's no follow-up from management because they know
that could be
they don't have enough people in the kitty or in the pool to choose from. So if you're being not a great employee, but at least you're an employee, I can't replace you. So I just let that slide. I think that's what's happening. There's not the same manager follow up. Like you should not be allowed in a customer service role to be on the phone to your buddy when you have customers. That should be an automatic. You don't work here anymore. You're not representing our company the way you should be.
Frankly, your phone should be in your locker or something, and now it's attached to the hip. Everybody's texting and talking the entire time that they're working, no matter where they're working.
Well, how about when you go to Tim Hortons and you go to one of those places but any one of those coffee places, and you pull up and they look at you and they're like, yes. Oh, can I get this? And then they hand it to you and there's not even, or they go, $1.53. They don't even, like, there's no hi, there's nothing, there's not thank you. It's just, here, take your money. It's like, well, you really love your job, eh?
Well, I get what you're saying. I mean, how exciting, is it to have to just keep handing people coffee through a window all day, though? They're only going to be so excited.
It's not. But if you're in the customer service industry, you should
Yeah, you got to suck it up.
Yeah.
There's been a few times I've had such service that I've actually said out loud, I feel bad, sort of, but not really. Where I just said, if you hate your job, you can quit.
Wow.
I've said that out loud because they're so ignorant, they're so rude, they're just ignoring me, or they're helping you, and
You
they're
said it
and they're
out-
scowling. I said it to the person
Okay.
working.
Right to their face.
Yes.
And what did they say back?
Probably it was not what they said. It was more what the look that I got. Like, okay,
We can't say it on this podcast.
Okay,
Well,
boomer.
yeah, well,
Exactly.
Really,
Exactly.
I mean, but it's true. It's like, man, if you don't like your job, it's okay, but you can quit. You can do something else. If you're going to do the job, you got to do the job.
No, I haven't said that, but I have said to people,
have.
how's your day going?
Yeah.
I've said that, which is kind of my way of saying like, hey, can you smile maybe and look like you're somewhat engaged?
But I don't. So I'm gonna challenge a little bit on when you said that you think it's just now the reality.
Yeah.
Right. I don't believe that's true because I know you probably have. I don't. Maybe you haven't.
Yeah.
But have you been to Home Hardware?
I have, and I will tell you that I would say the service in there is better than most.
Why would you say I haven't been
Yeah.
there?
I didn't know if you go to Home
I
Hardware.
go quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know what every single Home Hardware I've gone into, it is like as soon as you walk in, they're like, "Hey, how's it going, sir? Anything? Do you need anything?" And you can ask any single, anyone you walk into in that store.
That's true.
Where something is, and they're like, "No, hey, we're looking for bulbs. Yeah, come right down here, aisle 5," and like they're just out of their way.
So is that good manager follow up and
No, well,
I don't know, but
accountability?
it's like it's not just one store. That's what I'm saying. So it's not.
right?
They have younger people that work there. I think it's just they've made that a priority. They
Yes,
say
I would
customer
agree.
service is a priority to us.
I would agree, but I also think too, and not, I'm sure it's not 100% true, but most home hardware stores are independently owned,
Yes, they are.
right?
So it's
I
not
think
the big
there's-
chain.
It's not a big chain, and the people that are there, generally their owners are working in the store, and they are making sure that
Setting a
it's a
standard.
family-run kind of vibe, and they make sure it happens. In a big corporate store, you don't get that, right?
Yeah.
But that's exactly my point. You have to have a culture that supports that and that mandates and
Yeah.
expects that kind of customer service, and it takes tremendous follow through.
So I guess
and
bigger is
commitment.
not better.
Bigger isn't better.
Right.
Yeah. I actually, just speaking of home hardware, I have a story relating to that. There's one in Wortley Village, and this was a number of years ago, and I can't remember the name of what the item was, but it was you remember all those packages you get that are like heavy plastic, and it's very difficult. They're like, we call them childproof, because you can't hardly
Yes.
get them open.
With the safe cut.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was some kind of a tool for opening those packages.
Yes.
And it was being advertised at Christmas time, and I was going to buy it I think for mom and dad actually. And I went in there and they said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We've sold the last one." I was like, "Oh God, I've been looking everywhere for this thing." And another girl who was working at the paint desk, very close. This is a home hardware here in London. And she came over. She said, "You were looking for one of those, whatever it was
I think it was
called."
called a safe cut.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yes." And she said, "You know what? I'm going to help you out." She said, I bought the last one yesterday. I took it home. I'm going to go I'll get it for you. Come back tomorrow.
No way.
I'll give it to you, and I'll take one off the next order." And she said, "Is it a Christmas gift?" I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "No problem." I was
No
like,
way.
I go, "I'm not kidding." And I said, "Are you serious right now?" She said, "Yes." And I literally came back the next day, and she gave me the one that she had bought.
Was
And I
she
thought,
was she the owner?
No, she was just working at the paint desk.
See, that's
But
pretty
I'm
nice.
like that, and a matter of fact, I told a lot of people that story at that time because I was blown away that somebody would go, "She doesn't know me." But that was a home hardware. So it's interesting that you,
So that reminds me of a funny story. So that safe cut
yeah,
is meant to cut that plastic stuff that you can cut yourself on because it's so bloody sharp.
Right.
But the safe cut comes in the same plastic. So when,
need a safe cut,
it
too.
does. So when I remember we saw the commercial
Yeah.
for it, my son Zach said, "Well, you need a safe cut to get through to buy the safe cut," and it was so true because they come in the same
interesting.
type of plastic.
You know what's funny? I know we're going to go off topic here, but all that packaging that you need the safe cut for, I don't know how many times I have sliced my fingers
Oh,
open.
I 100%.
Lots.
But I keep doing it. Like even though I know
You keep doing the
I
same
probably
technique.
shouldn't do this because it's gonna I'll still put my hands in it and start ripping it because I'm getting frustrated. I can't open it.
It's
And then
crazy packaging.
Inevitably, I'll slice my finger and I'll be like, but then I just lose it again.
It's
But
the definition of insanity, buddy. Yeah.
But
It is.
I do keep doing it.
No, it's interesting that you brought them up because they absolutely do.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys because they really are doing it right. But I think the independent thing does have a lot to do with that,
Yeah, I never thought about that, but actually that's a good point.
right? If you were,
There's investment.
I mean, even in my business of construction, when I was on site. I mean, one of the things that people always said is your guys are so friendly. They're so nice. You ask them, they never have a bad attitude. I would go without a staff member when I needed one just to make sure I had somebody. Like I'd interview somebody and they're like, he's got a lot of experience, but he seems kind of crusty. I just wouldn't hire them because I wanted every single person
I'm the same.
that was in, if you're working in your house, Wade, I don't
same.
want you guys to say that guy was a total jerk. So I made sure. That,
No, I know. I know
but
that
the
you're
difference
focused.
is I was an owner who was walking in to those sites.
Yes, but I've hired your company before,
Yeah.
and I know that your focus was on customer service. Your focus was on when you leave the site, you clean it up, and
Yep.
it should look really good. And
Absolutely.
that's important, and people remember that about your company. I get really incensed when someone in that field or that industry doesn't pay that much attention to customer service. I think that's your job. Like, I'm buying something from you. Where's my service? So I come back again.
One of the things that I find interesting in service, and we'll go back to the telecommunication giants. Do you know there was a time that one of those people was repairing my phone and they lost it? And they told me they lost it, but they refused to replace it.
Come on.
Yes. You know this story. Do you,
I
do you
don't.
not?
I don't.
I can't tell the
I'm,
thing because it's just too long of a story.
I'm not recalling it.
But basically, they had it for months, and I asked them actually put my phone bill on hold because they wouldn't give me a loaner. Put my phone bill on hold until you get this thing back because I'm paying this. At that time, it was a lot more. It was $100 and some a month, and they refused. They said, "Well, we can't do that." So they were charging me every month. Well, they had my phone. They lost my phone for 9 months. Never gave me. I ended up having to buy a new phone, and then because I refused to pay the bill, they sent me to collections.
So whatever
So what happened, and I have to make the story short, but ultimately I was so frustrated that the big dog was just little poor me, who couldn't do anything. I went, at that time I worked at a building that, housed that business. And so I said, I sent out like an email to everybody I knew and said, does anybody know anyone who's somehow affiliated with the top brass in this company in any way? And somebody came back and said, I know the secretary to the president. And I said, great, can I have her email address? And so I wrote everything down and I wrote a big letter and I sent in, I got a call back, I'd say not quite 12 hours later. Sorry, not a call, an email. We're so sorry this happened. We're having everything taken off your credit report, blah, 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 blah. But they still never gave me my phone.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding. They still never replaced my phone.
How many hours
But
did
I
you
had to
spend on
fight.
the phone?
The point is, I had to fight for like 8
Yeah.
or 9 months.
Yep.
And I was just like dog on a bone. I wasn't gonna give it up. And in the end, I really got nothing. I mean, I got my credit cleared up because they'd sent me to collections. But
Yeah, but that never should have happened in the
shouldn't-
first
exactly.
place. Yeah.
So that's probably one of my frustrations in the big companies is that they just don't care because they know you have so little power compared to them that you probably will just go away and say, oh well, or just pay it.
And how much time did you spend on the phone dealing with those things?
So many times, Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I dropped it off up at Westmount Mall and I was going in there like once a month saying, guys, I haven't heard anything. Like, we're still trying to locate your phone, sir. Like, okay, well, in the meantime, you need to pause my account. Like, what
Or how about you give me a loaner phone until you find my phone
yeah,
or
they wouldn't do a
something?
loaner.
Like,
Yeah.
that's,
It was brutal. And as you know, I switched obviously to the other company.
Have you ever gone back?
Sadly,
Oh,
yes.
you did?
I
Yeah,
have. See, I have.
I
But
had
mean,
the same issue, not losing a phone, but where I got so upset with that one giant that I said, Alexander, I'm never coming back. And I never have. I refuse to go back.
oh, really?
Yeah, out of
Yeah.
principle. I just
So what are you gonna do then when the other giant
actually the
does
other
something
giant,
to you?
they actually have been amazing to me. Even when you call for service, I'm never on hold. Like they answer right away like that. I can tell you hands down they figured that part out.
Okay.
But yeah, and you know what? This brings up another point, which I think another pet peeve when it comes to customer service. But the larger company that we were talking about, I don't know if you realize this, but if you cancel your service, call it home phone or any of that stuff,
Sure.
there's a little small fine print in the
The
contract.
cancellation fee.
Yeah, that if you have to give them like 30 or 60 days notice of canceling. And so I got pissed off the one day. I said, you know what? Cancel all my stuff. I don't want a phone. I don't want cable. I want nothing to do with you. I'm never going to come back. And then the smug person on the phone was like, okay, well, there is a 90-day clause. And they were just reading this contract that I still had to continue paying them. And that was just enough to like seal the deal that I would never, ever go back. That, well, sir, did you not read this? I'm like, who reads that? It's like going through the Apple, terms and conditions.
Nobody reads it.
Yeah,
It's
of
27
course.
pages long.
You can't
Well,
continue
that's
until you
the
say
problem.
okay.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, no one is reading that. But very deep in there, in very tiny font,
Yeah, interesting.
says,
Yeah, I think that goes back to your point that they do these little things to make it difficult for you.
yeah,
So
because
that,
they don't
so that
care.
you'll just say, oh, well.
Oh, so here's another one. It may or may not be the same giant company. You go into the mall store, because you want to upgrade your cell phone. And then once you get in there, then they're like, well, we do have a promo on as well. You can actually get cable TV and internet.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. Well, can I do that? Well, you can't do that in this store. You have to call this number. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm in the store. No, but but we don't do that here. We just deal with the mobility aspect of it. So you have to go to this little area here and get on the phone and call this number, and then they'll work out a deal for
your
you.
average wait time is 90.
Yeah, no, seriously. And I remember when I was there, and they said that to me, and I actually walked out of the store, looked up at the sign, and came back in and said, no, I am at the right place, right? Like I was so annoyed that they said you couldn't do this, you couldn't do the whole business here.
Do you think that they just didn't want to do it?
No, because they're so large now that they've segmented their delivery services so that you can't just do it's not one-stop shopping. So I was in the store with the name on the outside of the store, and I had to get on the phone and call another number to get that service thing worked out, that agreement worked out. But it couldn't just be the person at the store that
That's
did it.
specialization is what you call that.
Is that what that is? I call it really bad customer service.
So do you think that these rules, these mandates, these lengths of time that they make you wait, the processes that they've created, do you think that's because there was so many people over the years that have manipulated, that have stole, lied, tried to find ways to cheat them, to bring back things that weren't broken?
Sure.
Do you think that that's really a reaction to all of those things that happen, or they just really don't give a crap? I mean, that's the question.
I think it's a bit of both. You can't please everybody, but I do think that they make it incredibly difficult. I think they do. And I'm sure it's because customers are incredibly difficult too.
Yes.
And not honest.
As somebody who ran a customer service business, I will tell you absolutely. There's sometimes when you're being as good as you can be and nobody's going to be satisfied, and there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah. And you might go to one of these stores and be very apologetic, and this isn't working for me. I want to return it. You're a really good guy. You're very honest, lots of integrity. But because they've dealt with lots of people that aren't like you.
Yes.
You get lumped into the same category of this guy's probably trying to scam us, and so they get defensive.
I think what I hate is that we've gone from a point of when something was wrong, you could just go and say, yeah, sorry about this doesn't work, or this is broken, or whatever it might be. And they say, okay, no problem, sir, let's take care of that. And they go through the motions. Now it feels like you have to fight just to get a basic a basic right.
You have to escalate it.
You're guilty until proven innocent. You got to prove that you're not a bad actor.
Well, exactly, that you're not scamming them, right, in some way.
Even though they're the ones making the multi-millions.
Yeah. So I don't like that you have to fight, that you can't just expect to get that service that I think we, for the most part, received, in my younger life.
Yeah. So maybe this is just a shout out to all the large corporations out there that, listen to what's being said on the social channels, that people are upset, they're frustrated, and they want that small town, small business feel of, the customer is important, and, service, it still exists. Clearly, there's a lot of companies out there that still, deal with that.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I think the bigger guys have to kind of, take notice.
Well, maybe they should, Home Hardware and should do a training for all the big corporations, because clearly they got it going on.
So we've done a previous podcast on tipping. So, but I think about customer service and waiters or waitresses, and just how much that makes or breaks a really good dinner.
Yes.
If you have a really good waiter or waitress, it makes that evening so much more enjoyable. when they're engaged and they're joking with you and they're almost like they're part of the table, and they make it seem seamless, like what they're doing. And I just recently had dinner in Stratford with another couple, and the service was incredible. And they were so good at just taking care of everything without us even knowing they were even there. It was so crazy. Like if your drink was low, it was like suddenly the new drink appeared. You dropped a fork, it was like this person's right there with a new fork without even asking for it. It was pretty crazy. That just made it really enjoyable. And the first server we had was just so smiley and happy and seemed genuinely happy that we were having dinner in their restaurant. That's customer service. And I've had the opposite too. That's where you're like, oh.
That's the sign of like a really talented server, in my opinion, that is just in and getting it done without interrupting. He or she adds comments and humor and discussion when necessary, and the rest of the time she's just kind of drifting in and out, and you don't really know she's there, but everything is addressed. I mean, that's the best.
Yeah, they're not like a creepy stalker standing by your table. Right?
That's always on the top of their game.
But they are close by, and they're like right there. It's
very attentive.
Yeah, attentive is a good word. For sure.
I know, and a shout out to Cobham River Lodge, where I just went on my fishing trip. So
What's it called?
Cobham River Lodge.
Cobham,
yeah, northern Manitoba. Anyways, the one thing I said, everybody asked, when I came back, I said, for me, it was the service that just blew me out of the water. And it's not that they did anything over the top. It's just that they went about it in such a way that it felt genuine. That, when you got up in the morning, they were saying, hey, Chad, how's it going? What do you want? Can I get you a coffee? What do you want in it? Here, sit down. Let's shoot the breeze in the kitchen. A kind of thing, as opposed to, how it just wasn't stiff. It felt good. And, you were
genuine.
It felt genuine. You were coming off the dock, and the guy's like, hey, how was the fishing? Hey, listen, we'll get the boat cleaned up. You want to go back out later? We'll get it ready for you. It was just little things, just the way they spoke to you, how they did it. It felt like you were family. And whatever, they've got going on there, I mean, people could learn a lesson from that.
Again, it all boils back down to the small, family-run business, right?
Small details that make such a massive difference.
Well, I think the word for me is genuine.
Absolutely.
And to me, that comes across as if I walk into your store to browse, and you're equally friendly to me, even though I don't buy anything. To me, that's being genuine. Like Sue and I just went to St. Jacobs recently.
Yep.
And a lot of those stores, we would just kind of walk in and peruse and then walk out again. And some of them didn't say much, but there were a lot of them that were just like, hey, thanks for coming. Have a great day. And they just seemed happy that we came and just looked in their store, even though we didn't buy anything. And that would make me want to go back and buy something because they were just really nice to us for coming into their store. It felt
genuine.
They felt appreciative that we came into their store. To me, that's what makes a difference.
How do you teach people to be appreciative of your business? I don't know.
Yeah, it's it starts at the top, right? It really does. You have to set a standard, and that
set a
standard,
culture.
yeah.
Well, it's always it's an old saying, right? Take care of the customers, and the money will take care of itself. And I think everybody's chasing the buck, and how to fine tune and be lean and make more money and more margins. And I think the rest is getting lost somewhere.
Yeah, I think the minute they focus on, on the profit, that's when the company fails, because that's all they care about, and it's the customers and the client satisfaction all becomes secondary to the almighty dollar that they're trying to chase.
Well, I know for you, Chad, I think obviously when you had your contracting business, money was important.
Sure.
But I know from talking to you that what was more important was your reputation.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the key. I think you're right, Spence. You don't focus on making money. You focus on, I want the customer to say, oh my God, they were so great to deal with. They were attentive. They were responsive. They were like my own employee. It was amazing.
Yeah. That's the best advertising you can have, is like someone,
100%.
as Chad just said about that lodge, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're not paying for any kind of advertising, yet you are, going out there out of the way to tell people of the experience that you had.
You know why? Because it's just not commonplace.
Right.
And so when you get that, it just stands out.
What's common is people to complain about everything. So when you take the time to make a really good referral or a positive comment, that says a lot.
Yes.
It says a lot.
Yeah. It does. What's the moral of the story on all of this, Spence? I mean, you brought it up.
I think the moral of the story is just, the sale doesn't end at the cash register to me, right? And I think a lot of big stores need to understand that, there's all aspects, whether it's returns, exchanges, if there's a problem with an item, your phone gets lost, like all those things, are part of the client experience. And if someone loses sight of that, I think they get into trouble.
Yeah, I think the moral is you don't have a business without the consumer. So,
get with it.
Yeah. Respect the customer.
I think it'd be interesting to have a podcast sometime just talking about customer service horror stories. Because, there's so many. I can't touch on them all today. I have a ton just of people that I've dealt with over the years, but that would be an interesting topic.
Stay tuned, I guess, for a future podcast.
Customer service 2.0.
Yeah.
anyway, bro, good topic. Thanks for bringing that one.
Yeah,
No problem.
I like that one. Thanks, Spence.
You're welcome. Until next time.
See you on ProBROknow.
See ya.
See you, folks.